Hello everyone, welcome to another session of political science class with me, and in this session we'll be taking another chapter, that is chapter 12. Here it's about alternative centers of economic and political powers, that is in your chapter 12. Now in this unit we'll study three important topics. Okay, the first is rise of China as a major economic power. I've written it about. Second is the creation, the creation and the expansion of European Union, and the last is the association of Southeast Asian nation, ASEAN. So these are the three broad topics under Unit 12. Okay, in this session we'll start with the first broad topic, that is China emerging as a major economic power. Okay, historical background. Now China too faced a major impact after the Second World War. Okay, her economy was shattered. She faced mass employment. Okay, and her economy was unstable because all her big industries, okay, and manufacturing units, they were owned and controlled by the foreigners. Now with the surrender of Japanese forces before the Allied forces, okay, with the downfall of Japanese supremacy, it led to a civil war in China. Now this civil war was fought between two. Okay, the first is the communists, that is led by Mao Zedong, and the follower of Mao Zedong, they were called the Red Army. So in one hand we had the communists, and the other hand we have the national government led by Chiang Kai-shek. Okay, now in this tussle between these two, the communists, it emerged victorious. Okay, now communists, they were able to control or took hold of most of the mainland Chinese territories. Now it was on the 1st of October 1949, the communists, they were able to establish this People's Republic of China. Okay, so now at present we have a republic, PRC, right, the People's Republic of China. This was emerged, or it happened in the 1st of October 1949. So this date and year, it is very important. Okay, now the communists emerged victorious. The leader was Mao. What did Mao Zedong do to revive her economy? It was a state-owned economy, okay, because China followed the model or the policy of the Soviet Union. Okay, now Mao government, like the Soviet Union or like the Soviet model, it tried to bring all the means of production as well as distribution. When I say means of production and distribution, it is related to industries, yeah, factories, banking, as well as commercial establishment. So all these were brought under the state control. Okay, now what about agriculture? Agriculture, it was distributed to the peasantry, but remember, it was under the state control. Okay, even agriculture was under the state control. Now, railways, water transport, okay, and the big industrial unit. These three areas or these three broad sectors were also brought under the state control. Okay, now in the initial years, the Chinese leader, they focus on technological development as well as industrial units. So with these two, China was moving ahead. Okay, it was able to give employment to her citizens. Okay, there was a high growth rate. Primary education was also given. Okay, now medical health care was also given. So in all these three, China was moving ahead because by following the Soviet model of economy, it helped her, okay, to use her own resources to boost her economy. But although the development phase of economy was increasing, there was an annual growth rate, but this annual growth rate, it could not meet the needs and expectation of the people due to the rise of population. So this was the major setback. Okay, due to the rise of population, it could not boost her economy because there was shortages of food and commodities. Now the moment a country faces shortage of food and commodities, it leads to poverty. The moment a country has a poverty, it leads to backwardness of the country. So this is the major area where she faced challenge. That is the problem of population. So this made the Chinese leader, okay, to force or to take up important decision-making policies, that is in the form of modernization and open door policy from the 1970s onward. Okay, now the first one, that is modernization. Now, on the 26th of October 1971, okay, 26th October 1971, China was admitted to the United Nations. The moment she became a member of the United Nations, its political isolation ended. So from here, we learn that China was following the policy of isolationism. Now, isolationism means keeping aloof, right? Now, when we apply this in international politics, this shows that China did not have relations with other countries till 1971. Okay, she was on her own. She used her own resources to develop herself. But after becoming a member of the United Nations, she opened herself. Now the leaders started visiting other countries. Okay, now they signed agreement in trade. Treaties were signed to boost her economy, especially in areas like trade, science, and technology. Okay, so the first point under modernization will be China became a member of the United Nations, which politically opened the country. Okay, now point number 2 under modernization will be in 1973. Okay, in 1973, Chinese Prime Minister, that is Zhou Enlai, he embarked upon a program called For Modernization. Okay, for modernization, that is modernizing in 4 sectors. The first is agriculture, second is industry, third is armed forces, okay, and the last is science and technology. So these are the 4 areas where the Chinese Prime Minister aimed to develop, okay, aim to modernize. Now, it is said that this form modernization, in other words, came to be known as the open door policy. Now, Deng Xiaoping, he called this open door policy as the China's second revolution. Okay, now China's second revolution is referring to for modernization. Okay, that is in agriculture, industry, armed forces, and last one, science and technology. Okay, now this is the first point, okay, modernization and open door policy where China started to boost her economy. Now, the next one is post-Mao era. Now, after the death of Mao Zedong in September 1976, the Chinese leader, okay, they felt it again necessary to liberalize in 2 areas, that is trade and investment. So these are the 2 sectors where the Chinese leader, they wanted to liberalize. No doubt, market economy was slowly growing. Okay, now what was this? Now this policy came to be known as the new economic policy. Under new economic policy, we have 2 points, that is privatization of agriculture, and the second point is special economic zone. Now it happened under the open door policy. Okay, now in 1978, this was initiated. So everything, the modernization and the open door policy, everything, it what happened in the 1970s. Now point number 1 under the new economic policy, that is privatization in agriculture. Okay, in the first one, it was a state-owned economy, right? The agriculture was under the state control. But now in the new economic policy, agriculture was privatized. Now, the collective agriculture farming that was in existence in the first development, it was abolished because it did not provide or it did not give good result, because the moment the people were commonly, the talent or the best effort is not given. Yeah. Now, it tried to abolish this system, and now the land was given to the peasants. Now, the moment the peasants became the owner of their respective land, agriculture produce, it was surplus. It was able to boost. It began to increase in agriculture production because of privatization. Okay. Now, point number 2, it is new economic policy. Under new economic policy, they introduce special economic zones, SEZ. Okay, what do you mean by SEZ? Now, SEZ, it is created by countries. Okay, it is created by countries to attract foreign investors so that other countries could come and establish their business enterprises or invest in industries and to boost the country's economy. The moment SEZ was introduced, it led to an increase in foreign direct investment because it led to the increase in global trade. Okay. Now, China, in order to facilitate foreign direct investment, it tried to reduce liberal. Okay. Now, taxation was reduced. The international trade, it began to boost. In 2005, it said that China received 72.4 US billion dollar only through investment. Okay. Now, even in 2006, it says that China has accumulated foreign exchange reserve to around $820 billion. So this shows that with the implementation of SEZ and the implementation of the foreign direct investment FDI, it boosted her economy. Now, the SEZ, it was implemented, okay, in cities like Shanghai and those countries where it was near the coastal areas because they wanted to have trade near the coastal seas because, like I've said, trade by sea is much cheaper than trade by land. So they focus on those cities which were near the coastal areas. Okay, so these were the centers for special economic zones. Now, point number 3. China officially became a member of the World Trade Organization in 2001. Now, China decided to open more of her economy. What in this sphere, that is, the first one is banking and tourism. So in these areas, banking, tourism and telecommunication, they tried to liberalize the moment she became a member of the World Trade Organization. Now in 2006, China, she also liberalized or announced a heavy reduction in taxes and duties for the import of foreign cars. So these are the 3 areas. Okay, privatization of agriculture, introduction of special economic zones, and China finally becoming a member of the World Trade Organization. These 3 areas, it boosted her economy, and at present day, she is a major global power, especially in the economic sphere. Okay, now what are the results? Okay, what were the results for this new economic policy? Now, due to the introduction of this new economic policy, it has results. Now, point number 1, it says that China today emerged as one of the largest producer of steel and cement. Okay, steel and cement, China has the major producing part. Now, in 2006, it says that over 80% of the world consumer electronic goods. Okay, when it comes to electronic goods, in 2006, China accumulated for about 80%. Okay, now this shows that even in electronic goods, China has a dominance. Now, point number 2, it says that foreign companies, the moment foreign companies started to have their enterprises or business settlements in China, they started to give high salaries to those people who have a high skilled management system. Okay, those who has the skilled workers and managing background, they were given high paychecks. And the moment these paychecks were introduced, it led to the growth of new affluent professionals. Now, this led to the division of society between rural and the urban, as well as between the industrial coastal areas and the inland rural provinces. So this second point, it was a negative impact. It led to the growth of a new section of young professionals. Okay. Now, point number 4, it says that despite this growth rate in China, young people still face problem of unemployment. Okay, despite the high growth of economy, China still faced the problem of employment. It says that in 2010, there were around 12% which falls under the category of poverty, which shows that China has a major problem in dealing with her population. Now, yet China, okay, even though she has a problem with poverty or with population, we cannot deny that China is emerging as a major global power. Yeah, it says that in 2003, okay, in 2003, the present president of China, that is Xi Jinping, he said that with just 7.5, okay, with just 7.5 to 8% of growth rate, China will become a major economic world power by the end of 2020. So this projection of emerging a global economic power by 2020 was made in 2003. Okay. Now he also talked about liberalizing in trade. For example, in the field of science and technology. He also talked about reformation in the field of finances. Okay. Now he also introduced that cutbacks will be made in electrical and in gas and water. So these are the three: electrical, gas and water. He's saying that there will be cutbacks to boost the economy. So these were the projections that were made in 2013 to emerge China as a major global power. So in conclusion, we can say that the China's adoption of new economic policy, okay, as NEP, new economic policy, it led to a remarkable improvement in China's economy, okay. And in recent time, China emerged as a global power, especially in the economic sphere. It has put a stiff competition, or it has provided as an alternative growth to the US supremacy in the economic. It has led to competition between the US and the Chinese, especially in the economic sphere. So with this session, we'll end this. Okay, in the next session, we'll talk about European Union. All right, the growth which led to the growth of European Union. What is her stand now? What we'll talk about Brexit. Okay, and that will happen in the next session. In this session, we talk about China's emergence as a major global power. So in this, okay, you have to know about Mao's government, his new policy. The moment he became victorious after the civil war, he introduced a state-owned economy. Okay, and after his death, the next leaders, they tried to modernize, okay, and it introduced open door policy. And because of these two policies, now China has emerged as a major economic power. Okay.